Walk away! Walk away! Walk away! Walk away! Walk away! Thank you very much. That's gonna look great on a future sizzle reel. Thank you. Hi, my name is Brandon Straka. I am the founder of the #WalkAway campaign. And I'm here to talk to you today about social proof, what it is exactly, and how the left propagandizes and weaponizes this social structure to their advantage and to our disadvantage, but most importantly, what we are gonna do about it. Social proof is a type of human behavior that people engage in situations where they feel unsure what the appropriate or accepted course of action is. It is conformity, otherwise known as groupthink, herd behavior, hive-mindedness. Now, this is not always a bad thing. We all engage willingly at times in this very behavior, whether it be on Amazon or TripAdvisor when we look around to see how like-minded individuals are booking their trips or what they're buying or what they're doing. Or sometimes looking at social precedent when asking ourselves, does it seem like a good idea for me to testify against the Clintons? That's actually probably a better example of self-preservation. The left has managed to get away with murder in the ways that they have completely hijacked the norms in which we have social norms and dragged the Overton window so far over to the left that it doesn't even know its own pronouns anymore. The Anti-Defamation League has placed the OK hand signal on its list of modern calling cards of hate, but only if you're a conservative. If you are a conservative, it is now racist to tell your fellow conservative friends, you look okay. They have also added the bowl cut haircut to the list of modern calling cards of hate, likening it to a modern look of Nazism. Now granted, as a gay man and former hairstylist, I'm not conclusively opposed to illegalizing tragic haircuts. I actually consider a lot of Maxine Waters' wigs to be a hate crime against my retinas. But I digress. In 2015, Donald Trump took a now iconic ride down an escalator to announce that he was running for president. When Donald Trump announced he was running for office, like most people, I think on both sides at the time, I thought it was a joke. The late night talk show host thought it was a joke. The liberal media thought it was a joke. Everybody thought it was really funny until it became primary time. And this MAGA movement began to grow around the country, and nobody understood quite what was happening. And suddenly, it wasn't so funny anymore. Suddenly, it appeared that Hillary Clinton didn't necessarily have this election all sewn up, and the powers that be in the leftist propaganda machine started to wonder, well, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna take this guy out? And this is when I think that they got very clever. And they put their heads together and they asked themselves, well, what triggers liberals more than anything on the face of the earth? Social injustice. We have to make this guy the most racist, the most bigoted, the most homophobic, the most sexist, Islamophobic, homophobic man that the world has ever seen. And that's exactly what they did, and it worked brilliantly and effectively. Because like sheep, like a herd, people began to buy into it and believe it. And what was one day a joke suddenly became incredibly terrifying and frightening. And I bought into it entirely. As a former liberal myself, I was absolutely terrified of what was happening in this MAGA movement in this country. In 2016, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Thank you. It's always the part where everyone boos. I just have to build in time to my speech for it. I voted for Hillary Clinton, and I was absolutely terrified, wondering what exactly was going on in this country when Donald Trump was elected president. The same media that I trusted told me that he had a less than 3% chance of winning. And so, like most people on the left, I was absolutely horrified and trying to figure out exactly how it was that this had happened. Now, the same tactics that they used to brainwash people like me, liberals and leftists, they use against the right as well. They know that this social conformity exists on both sides. They can both trick liberals into believing whatever they want them to believe, that Donald Trump and his followers are racist, bigots, homophobes, etc. But they also know that the right is known as the silent majority in this country. And they know that the right will not fight back when pushed against, when mislabeled, when called names, when basically made out to be incredibly deplorable monsters and human beings. There's an abusive relationship in this country between the left and the right has become their punching bag. More than 5 years ago, I made another decision that changed my life entirely. After more than a decade of severe alcohol and cocaine abuse, I joined a 12-step program and I got sober. Thank you. Thank you. When I first got sober, I had quite literally hit rock bottom. I had absolutely no self-esteem. I had no sense of self-worth. And although I was the life of the party when I drank and did drugs, I had absolutely no idea who I was in a sober state. So I started going to meetings when I first got sober. And when I would go to meetings, I made it a point to raise my hand and share every time I went, just so I could get in the practice of talking to people when I was sober. But I would stare at the floor and I would feel completely ashamed of everything that I had to say. I couldn't make eye contact with anybody when I was speaking. And the reason why is because I believed that the thoughts that took place in my head, the dark thoughts that I had every day, the self-doubt, the misgivings, the beliefs, the core beliefs that I had about myself that were so negative, I thought were specific only to me, and that I was the only person on the face of the earth that felt this way. Slowly but surely, I built up the nerve to begin looking up and making eye contact with people when I was speaking. And what I saw when I was sharing deep from within my heart absolutely astounded me. What I saw when I looked around the room were affirmative nods. People nodding their head, yes, yes, that I was saying something that was tapping into exactly how they were feeling, that they too were experiencing exactly what I was experiencing, but they didn't have the nerve to say it. They were waiting for someone else to say it first. And that lesson was one of the most important lessons that I ever learned in my entire life, and that is exactly one of the lessons that propelled me to do the Walk Away campaign in the first place. I learned through that experience that everybody is just waiting for someone else to boldly stand up and say something that everyone else is already thinking and feeling. I began at that point no longer questioning my thoughts and whether or not I should speak up if I felt strongly or passionately about something. And so, in 2017, I went on social media and I asked the question, why on earth did any of you people vote for Donald Trump? How did this happen? And that was the moment, as many of you know, I went on Facebook and I asked, I'll never be able to understand how any of you people could vote for a man who stood before a cheering crowd and mocked a reporter's disability. And somebody reached out to me with a video entitled "Debunking that Trump Mocked the Disabled Reporter," a compilation of footage which proved conclusively that the media that I had trusted for so long, my entire life, had lied and misrepresented the actions of Donald Trump on that day when they accused him of mocking a reporter's disability. It sent me on a long journey of research in which I went back to, it started with one simple question: does the media lie? It turns out they do. Spoiler alert. And so I went on a journey to try to find out how often was this happening and what is their end game and what is their goal. And I discovered that time and time and time again, the media was creating a false narrative in this country and completely hypnotizing the masses on the left to believe in it, while thoroughly and completely maligning those of you on the right. And I decided I need to speak up and I need to do something about this. And that is why I made a 6-minute video detailing all of the reasons why I was walking away from the left, walking away from liberalism in the Democratic Party. But I knew from my previous experience, it wasn't enough for me to tell my story. It wasn't enough for simply me to walk away from the left. We needed to create a movement in this country where people didn't have to be afraid to speak up and tell their stories as well. Thank you. I told people across the world, make your testimonials, tell your story, know that you're not alone. When people walk away from the left, many people don't understand they're not just walking away from a political party or an ideology. Many people are walking away from friends, from family, from job opportunities, from walking into an unknown future. It is quite literally like walking away from a cult. And so I wanted to create a network of support, a community, and a movement of people so that nobody would ever have to be alone again when they walked away from the Democratic Party. And it exploded like wildfire. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Hell hath no fury like a gay man scorned by the Democrat Party. They really pissed me off. I often wonder if they regret pissing me off quite so much sometimes. As of today, the Walkaway campaign now has over 500,000 followers who have joined our movement on all social media platforms. We have tens of thousands of written and video testimonials from Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Jewish Americans, LGBT Americans, and we love straight white people in our campaign too. It is quite literally a slice of America exactly as America should be. Not everyone in the Walkaway campaign is a Republican. We have independents, we have libertarians, we have Republicans. Some people love the president, some people aren't so sure about the president. But this is the thing, we are leading people out of the hive mind. We are leading people out of collectivism, and we are telling people, Walkaway is a journey, not a destination. It is up to every individual in this country to do their own homework, to do their own research, and decide for themselves what really is the truth. Turn off the fake news, turn off CNN, turn off Rachel Maddow, turn off Anderson Cooper. Do watch Fox News when I'm on. But for God's sake, start thinking for yourself. We're not telling people what to think. We're simply telling people to think. And this is why we're seeing such a paradigm shift in this country right now in leadership. It is not a coincidence that Donald Trump is the president of the United States right now. It's not a coincidence that a gay former hairstylist who used to be a liberal has started a movement that has caught fire and been supported and embraced by conservatives in this country to get people to walk away from the divisive, hateful left. And so I want people to look around, all of you, to look around and take your cues from the leadership that's happening in this country right now, the completely atypical leadership that we're seeing in this country right now. Donald Trump is a fighter who understands exactly what it is that we're up against in this country. He knows about the swamp. He knows about the propaganda of the left. He knows about the leftist machine that wishes to tear America down. He is the only guy in this country right now that was willing to stand up and say, no, I am going to fight for you, I'm going to fight for you, I'm going to fight for you, and I'm going to fight for America. It is time for us to end this abusive relationship with the left, and this is how we're going to do it. I have been telling people since I started the Walk Away campaign, it is time for the silent majority to become unsilent. It is time to speak up, fight back, push back. Being political one day a year when you go into the voting booth, or one day every 4 years, is no longer enough, people. We can sit around and we can laugh about the left. We can make fun of them. We can call them crazy. We've got bald girls showing up and screaming at events. We can laugh and laugh and laugh. But the fact of the matter is, the left exists because of our silence. The left exists. They control Hollywood, they control academia, they control culture, they control the entertainment industry, and they are in your kids' grade schools and high schools and college campuses. And this has happened because of the silence of common sense Americans. So I am encouraging every American to become #unsilent and support us in the Walk Away campaign, and this is what we are up to. The Walk Away campaign has begun the Walk Away Thought Revolution College Campus Tour. We are getting into as many college campuses as possible. Thank you, and let me tell you what's different about us. We are former liberals. We are former Democrats going into liberal areas and talking to liberal students who are learning from liberal professors and telling people, look, we understand why you think the way you think. We know why you believe what you believe. Let's have an honest conversation about how we've been manipulated, how we've been lied to, and how there's a better way, and there's a better choice. Walk Away has created our minority-focused town halls. Last year, we did 27 events around the country for the Black community, for the Hispanic community, for the LGBT community. Next month is our very first Walk Away Jewish Americans Town Hall. At every event, we do voter registration, everything that we do. And at every event, we have successfully changed the voter registration of minority Americans away from the Democrat Party. We have created an educational video series called The Hard Truth, debunking liberal media lies and myths. These episodes can be found for free on YouTube. We will continue to make more and more and more of them, debunking more and more liberal media myths. I have an event that I'm very excited to announce tonight. On May 1st in Nashville, Tennessee, we will have the first Walk Away American Women's Town Hall, an event for women to bring your mothers, your daughters, your girlfriends, your best friends, and have a night where you can feel proud of being a woman that isn't represented by third and fourth wave feminism in this country. It is going to be the ultimate ladies' weekend. My panel for this event is Laura Trump, Judge Jeanine Pirro, Diamond and Silk, Katie Hopkins, and a newcomer named Shamika Michelle. It is going to be fantastic. Go to walkawaycampaign.com to find out more about that. And finally, let me tell you that we have begun our field activism program. Go downstairs while you're here at CPAC and go to our booth. Find a young man named Cade Marsh who is going to be leading our youth activism and activism field program. We intend to get into college campuses, create college chapters, and bring as many young people into the Walk Away movement as we possibly can. And I will wrap up now because I know the woman backstage is panicking because my time is up. I want to see everybody in Washington, D.C. on October 3rd as this silent majority becomes unsilent. And with that, let's take a look at what Walk Away has in store on October 3rd in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much.